And we are live. I'm going to do a quick update as soon as I set up the pop-ups. Because I have family and friends who are family in Florida that may be watching right now. Because I told them. Let me make sure this is muted. It is. YouTube. This is a really dangerous situation developing in Florida. That sound you hear is radar Omega. I'm going to bring that up in the screen in a minute. It is a Cat 5 right now. 165 mile per hour wind sustained. Now it's expected to weaken to a Cat 3, a strong Cat 3. But it's not out of the realm of possibility it could be a Cat 4. Because this thing, the pressure's dropped from the last update about 35 minutes ago. The pressure dropped, so it shows that it's even intensifying now. So they're expecting maybe an eye wall replacement cycle, which would weaken it. There's a lot of could, maybe, should. Doesn't guarantee it's going to happen. That's why you must monitor this very carefully because the forecast models have shifted to the south. So I'm going to show on the screen in a second. Okay, what am I missing? Rumble, Twitch. I cannot see Facebook. But I know there could be people watching that, very close friends, that could be in the path of this. All right, all the pop-ups are done. Let me stop this file because it's done. Free up some memory. Okay, let's get right to it. So the euro and the American seem to be pretty much in agreement where this storm is going now. It's almost exactly overlapping. I closed a few windows, that might help. So tomorrow night really. Let's go back a little. Okay. It's going to definitely start feeling it Wednesday night, but it's really Thursday morning. Right there. So look, Sarasota. Euro model, Sarasota. So now they're trending more to the south. Originally, they had it coming in here, where they were really, really concerned about Tampa Bay. Do you see how the wind is coming offshore? On that side, like my friend Mike, his sister lives in, oh my God, Richie, up to the north. What is it up here? Port Richie. She's okay. She's on the north side. Rain, yes. Some wind, yes. But you're not going to get that storm surge up there because you're on the other side of the storm. It's the folks down here now. Englewood, Venice, Punta Gorda. Even, it depends. If this even shifts more to the south, then these areas start to get affected. But the trend is that the eye is now going to make landfall slightly more to the south than originally forecasted. That's important in so many ways because it affects different people. But you cannot take this literally because the models can still change. The hurricane can wobble to the north again, even further to the south. But anywhere in this area, you need to be watching. So even though the model has it now here, does not mean it's going to make landfall there. It can still make landfall near Clearwater. It's all about that wobble, especially if it goes through an eye wall replacement cycle. It will wobble. Which way will it wobble? Maybe not at all, but it could in either direction. Now, this is the American model. Now, the American model still has it going directly over Tampa Bay. So they're that close together. I mean, so the Euro has it coming in here by Sarasota, the eye, and the American has it slightly to the north here. So that's what I mean. Don't know yet. So anywhere where that eye makes landfall south of it is where that storm surge is going to be devastating. And yeah, near the eye, you'll deal with the more intense winds. And this is going to be a wide field storm. So that storm surge is going to affect a lot of people up and down. It's going to affect a lot of people. The more south you are, the less surge you'll have. But you're still going to get surge. It's closer to the eye, right in here, that you got to watch. Where the more intense winds are, bringing that water onshore. So this is the focus here now. But it could still be here. Depending where that eye makes landfall. It's critical. And yes, the storm is expected to go over the peninsula of Florida, out into the Atlantic, and still be a Cat 1 as it exits. So when that happens, now Orlando, you might be more, that's the American. Let's go back to the Euro. This is a direct bullseye on Orlando, by the way, with the American. Let's see where the Euro's taking it. Oh, back up. Just south of Orlando. That's what I thought. So Orlando, you're still a little bit on the wind side, but there's a lot of rain associated here. So as long as you're not in that right quadrant of the storm, like you would be in the American model. But see, this is still the problem for now, the East Coast. As the storm exits, now you got the storm surge coming up over here to the north. Now, it's not going to be nowhere close to what it's going to be on the West Coast, but you're still going to have storm surge on the East Coast. North of where the eye exits. So you have to be on guard there too. Now that we went through this, let's go look at the satellite imagery of the hurricane. And yes, that annoying noise you hear is radar Omega. That's something I paid for, a little extra feature that updates the radar every 30 seconds. Now that is one intense eye wall. That's literally just now, 0 minutes ago. That is a well-defined Cat 5, 165 mile per hour sustained winds hurricane. That's, I hate to say it, that's like a textbook image for a Cat 5. Look at that eye. Look how well defined that is. That's a strong hurricane. So as it comes in, it could get a little wind shear from the north that could slightly weaken it. Plus, the eye wall replacement cycle. That is going to be key here, because that could weaken that storm as it's going through it. There's a lot of ifs. They're expecting this to be a Cat 3 when it makes landfall. That's what they're still forecasting, even though it's a Cat 5 right now. But until it's close to land, we'll know. Because they've been off on their predictions the entire time. Early on, they had this thing slowly developing. In 18 hours, it went from a 1 to a 5. They didn't expect that. And even on the models, like with Radar Omega, it wasn't showing, it showed a few 5s, but then it turned to 4s. That's changed. So that's why I say the weather changes. You cannot see, now they have the 5 here. That wasn't a 5 yesterday. This wasn't a 5 yesterday. That was a 4. It was 5 before that. But now this thing's a 5. And this is as of 45 minutes ago. The pressure is insane. It hit 899 yesterday. That's the 5th lowest pressure ever recorded in an Atlantic system. Hurricane. And yes, the Gulf is considered the Atlantic. The other side is the Pacific. That's unbelievable. It's 3 millibars away from that. That is a strong, very, very powerful hurricane. That's scary. Look at the sustained winds, 165. So that means winds gusts are 185. We don't need that. We don't even need a 4. We don't even want a 3. But it looks like right now, it's horrible to say, but a Cat 3 is like the best thing we can ask for right now. And that's still a major hurricane. But we don't want that. I don't even want to talk about that because I don't want that. I don't want to speculate and say. But right now, it could still technically be a Cat 4. Low on the end, maybe. It could still be a Cat 4 when it comes in. This is not for sure it's going to be a 3. Because this storm has been unpredictable already. Now, right here, it says it's a 3. Sustained winds at 125, 155. So that's what they're still forecasting. So there's a pocket of warm water that sits right where this hurricane is right now. And then the water slightly cools off as it moves northeast. But right now, it's in that really warm water. That's why it's doing what it's doing right now. Oh, no. Mom, I'm live right now. Don't interrupt me right now.
No, I'm saying,
Anyway, so.
those planes.
I know.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yes, she's talking about the Hunter planes, the
Oh my God.
hurricane Hunter planes that go into the storm. All right, Mom, I'm live.
The intelligence.
Okay, I'm live.
Whew.
So you cannot discount anything with this storm. Don't wish for the best, prepare for the worst.
I'm praying.
Or pray for the best.
Mm-hmm.
Prepare for the worst in this scenario here.
You have to get close to Jesus.
Mom, I'm live. Please leave the room.
If you keep it up, you know
I can't believe this. I'm doing a live stream and she's coming in here.
Keep it up. I'm gonna stay here.
This is very serious. Please go over there.
Billy, I just came into the living room.
Okay, see you later.
Bye.
Anyway,
I'll stay there and then I'll.
you can't make this up. So, yes, this is... And another thing that's bad with a storm like this, because it's so strong, isolated tornadoes. I would not doubt if you're going to see a lot of tornado warnings in Florida tomorrow, or tomorrow night into Thursday morning. I probably would say there's going to be quite a few of those because this storm is so intense, and you're going to have those bands, and you're going to have isolated tornadoes develop in those bands. So on top of everything else, you're going to have that as well. And that's incredible. And it's bad because this storm is going to be that strong. So there's a lot of alerts, and they're all tropical alerts, most of them. Yeah, 172 of them. They're storm-based. Look at all this. So look at the storm surge warnings, and there's 26 of them. There's tons of them. This is for the East Coast. of Florida. So that just brought me to the East Coast. So it's like I was saying earlier, it's both the West and the East. West worse, but yeah, even the East Coast. Look at them all. Look at all the storm surge warnings. They're all over, up and down the coasts. It's everywhere. So I don't want to get too stuck on this right now because it's going to bring us all over the place. So obviously, let's go to NOAA. Let's get out of here. But that is unbelievable. That is unbelievable. Look at you see that, that stuff that's in the sky, those puffy ripples, those are thunderstorm tops. When you see them bubble up like that, that means they're intense. They're very high altitude. But it's hard to see it in the zoom. But you can see on the beginning of this loop, you'll see like a ripple look in here. See that? That's intense. That's why the strong is at 902 millibars, which is unbelievable low pressure. Which says this, look at the eye, look at that formation of that hurricane. That's, like I said, if you were to show somebody what a Cat 5 looks like, you would take a video shot of this and show them. Because that is a great depiction of what a Cat 5 looks like. I mean, you look at the eye. Look how tight and well formed it is, circular. Look at that. That's scary. And like I said, I'm hoping this thing loses some punch because it's been a lot of 5s on that projection, future forecast models. There was a lot of 4s a couple of days ago. And there's been a lot of 5s now. I don't think they expected the storm to be as intense as they thought. So when they predict the 3 coming in, we have to see about that. That's what they're saying it's going to be, because they're depending on eye wall replacement, wind shear from the north. They're depending on a lot of elements. We have to see that all play out. So I'm not saying there's going to be a Cat 5, but it could be a Cat 4 or a strong 3. Because it's starting to, 24 hours from now, that's going to be close to making landfall. That's not much time. I've been doing weather a long time, and especially hurricane stuff for over a decade, doing streams about it. That is one of the most impressive systems I've ever seen. As far as a Cat 5, I can't remember the last time I saw something that looked like that. Look at it. It's a perfectly round circle. It is so well defined. And like I said, the pressure's at 902. We just hit the 5th lowest on record at 899. This is at 902. So this makes this probably the 6th strongest recording since we've been collecting data. My volume is high. I'll put it higher. I don't know why it went down. Testing. Anyway, there you go, Bob. All right, now let's get away from this for a minute. But there is one thing. See, the radar's off this shore of here is probably not going to be that good. Yeah, I didn't think so. So let's go to the Hurricane Center. So as of 8 p.m. Eastern, sustained winds, like I mentioned, 165 miles per hour. sustained. But remember, the winds are near the eye wall. It's a small area. It's maybe 30 miles wide. If anybody gets, who wants to get hit by that eye wall? No one. Say that to the other people that are away from it, they're not going to get that. They get hurricane force gales, winds, or a tropical storm. But the people that are going to be affected by this eye directly hit are going to deal with those winds. Well, not that, because it won't be a Cat 5, I don't think, when it comes on shore. Highly unlikely. Could be a 4. Most likely a strong 3, if I had to make a guess right now. But the pressure is 902. That's intense. And it's moving at 10 miles per hour, so it's starting to pick up a little bit. Now, the timing, here's another thing that's very important to look at this storm. If they're timing this to come in early Thursday, high tide is early Thursday, because I checked it already. That couldn't be worse timing. If this thing comes in and makes landfall at when it's high tide, that just is going to make matters so much worse. So that's another thing to keep an eye out tomorrow. When does it make landfall? That is critical because of high tide. So this is not good. Let's click on it and let's go to the cones and the storm surge and all the details. So there's the hurricane watches, tropical storm warnings, pretty much up and down because it's going to cross over the peninsula of Florida. So you got the hurricane warnings on both sides because it will be a hurricane, probably a Cat 1 as it exits, which is unbelievable in itself. That's actually going to be still a hurricane when it goes offshore. Look at the surge. Now, notice from earlier today, they've extended it now down to Charlotte Harbor. Now, closer to Tampa Bay, Sarasota, Englewood, it's 10 to 15. But they've extended that even down a little bit toward Charlotte Harbor, that area on the map. Now, the yellow on the other side, so let's look. 3 to 5 in here. 2 to 4 up here. Even in South Carolina, 1 to 3. That's unbelievable. So even here, you're going to have storm surge. Not like here. But even there, you're going to have some kind of storm surge on the East Coast. And remember, the hurricanes are projected to go either directly over Orlando or just south of Orlando. So you're going to have hurricane force winds. Heavy rain, 12 to 18 inches of rain possible, depending on where you are, on top of everything else. So this is, and I give Governor Ron DeSantis absolute 100% credit. Because I saw his press conference this morning, and I caught parts of it yesterday. He is the perfect person to have as a governor in a situation like this, because he's experienced. He personally experienced hurricanes, living, when he was younger in certain areas with his family, and he has that state prepared. And yes, the government is also assisting Florida. So to be fair and balanced, it's definitely being addressed by both on the state level and the federal level. So thank God for that. And a lot of people have been evacuating. They've been heeding the warnings. I don't know if you've seen any clips of the traffic jams on 75 or I-4. People are heeding the warnings and they're getting out. And people are evacuating from these barrier islands, the areas that are in Zone A, even in Zone B. People are doing what they need to do. Thank God for that. So As far as, the best they can do, it looks like everybody's doing their part to do the right thing. And it's all about that. People helping each other, people coming together. That's what this is about. That's when communities matter and people matter. People, everything, all the other petty stuff, put it to the side. We all have to help each other. Check on seniors, check on your neighbors, your family members, friends, all that. See if they need any assistance. There's not much time. There's not much time now. Some people depend on medical equipment to sustain them with their issues. Do they have backup power for that? I mean, there are people, elderly or have, like I said, medical conditions that they may not be able to leave. They don't have the ability to leave. And that's another thing. They're busing people out, which is great. They're actually calling people and contacting people. Do you need a ride to get out of there? That's awesome. Also, Florida state law is if you need a medication, though it was not ready to be refilled, you can in a storm situation like this. You could go to your pharmacy and get your refills, even though it's not time to refill them. They will do it for you. That's the Florida state law. So a lot of preparation. They're scrambling right now in certain areas to get rid of the damage that was left by Helene. All the damage. So I saw videos this earlier. I couldn't believe all the debris that they have yet to clean up of the areas affected by Helene that could be hit by this. And I mean serious, like debris, major, wood, furniture, everything from the places that were hit by Helene. So they are scrambling right now, even right now, to get rid of that stuff. Because they don't want that debris floating around in a surge and causing more damage. So Florida is they're doing their best, and no doubt. So now it's just about the storm itself. And in 24 hours, we're going to get an idea. Now, like I was mentioning about the tides, but first let's go back to windy. Let's look at wind. Let's see what time they're projecting this eye to make landfall. So that's the Euro. Okay. This looks like early morning, Thursday. So let's do a guesstimate. Say 6 a.m. that it makes landfall. And this is the Euro model. It's showing near Sarasota. So let's look at Sarasota tides. Sarasota tides. Oh, I shouldn't have put that. I should have put Florida. Okay, here. Okay, so Thursday morning, date, Thursday, high tide, Thursday morning, a.m., 4:21 a.m. That's not good. If that eye comes in at 6 a.m., it's still high tide. That's not good. And if it comes, even earlier, it's still not good because you still have a still tide, high tide, or you can have an incoming tide pushing the water in as the storm is coming in. Well, yes, you're right. If that's Bob said something that's absolutely true, and people in Florida have seen that, Bob, along the shoreline. If they're on the other side of the storm where the wind is coming offshore, you'll see all that water disappear offshore. I've seen video of that. It's incredible. You see, because it's shallow there, you could see it out for such a long distance. going out, it's incredible to look at when you're on that side, how all the water comes out. It's unbelievable, actually, to see that, to see it all exposed. That's normally covered with water. It is. But that's more, that's the optimistic and good side of this. But not for these folks on this side. Remember, the American still has the eye coming in directly into Tampa Bay. This is the Euro model. The American has it coming in a little later. Actually, a little earlier, 4 a.m., which is just as bad. It's still high tide. But look where the eye is. Directly heading toward Tampa and Orlando. This would be a bullseye for Orlando if the American model is right. Now remember, there's a lot of stuff that can still happen from now to tomorrow night, and I said it already 3 times. Where this storm is right now, let's look at the satellite. So where this storm is right now, they're expecting, as it moves more to the northeast, an eye wall replacement cycle to happen. That means the storm could wobble. It should weaken before it has a chance to strengthen again, but that water is not as warm as where it is entering right now. There's a warm pocket, an extremely warm pocket of water where it's entering, right where these storms are developing. There's a warm pocket of water there. There's a name for it, I just can't recall it right now. But they're expecting an eye wall replacement. When that happens, the hurricane can wobble and slightly go to the north, stay on course, or go to the south. If the eye wall replacement cycle happens, what does the storm do after it, or as it's doing it? Will it wobble? That's what they're watching right now. So they're not even sure. No one is. You cannot predict what this thing is going to do. No one can. Not until it gets close enough to see actually where it's going to make landfall. Because they do wobble. And a wobble is a big difference between Tampa Bay and Sarasota. If it goes to Sarasota, Tampa Bay's on that north side where, like Bob said, the wind is coming offshore. Offshore, not onshore, like Sarasota, south of Sarasota. So they'll be on the offshore flow, which would be a saving grace for Tampa Bay. But not so much for the people south by Sarasota and south to Englewood, Venice, even Charlotte Harbor, possibly. So that's why I'm going to make this short. Tomorrow, by tomorrow afternoon, we'll know a lot more about this storm. Does it go over an eye wall replacement in the next 12 to 18 hours? What does it do after? How much does the pressure go up? How much intensity does it lose? A lot of questions. And again, where it's going to make landfall. There's a lot of questions still. And that cannot be answered tonight. Because look where the hurricane is. But like I said, 24 hours from now, not even 24 hours. Yeah, because it's not predicted to make landfall till Thursday morning early. By tomorrow night this time, we'll have a definitely better idea of what the storm strength is going to be and a good idea where landfall is going to happen. But I cannot tell you, this is a dangerous... See, a lot of hurricanes, when they come into the Gulf, they either cross, say, by Miami, and they enter the Gulf, or they ride up the west coast of Florida. So the water is coming from a different direction. It's kind of pushing up toward the sides, like what Helene did. This is a different type of storm. This is the worst case scenario that Tampa's been worried about for a very long time, because this thing is coming directly in from west to east. That changes the whole storm surge, the way it moves. It brings it directly on shore, not parallel, but directly on shore. That's a big game changer. So this is why this storm is a major, major, major concern, because this is a rare case. This doesn't happen often where a storm goes west to east over Florida like this. Like I said, they usually go parallel with the coastline. Like similar to Helene. Helene was offshore a little bit, but Helene made that track up toward the north. That's what they usually do, and then they curve out to the right. They all make that curve, except what Helene did. Helene made that curve to the left because there was a high pressure sitting. It was the steering currents. But this one. And another thing, as crazy as this sounds, thank God this thing is going east and not coming back in a loop back toward Florida. Because that's not usual for a storm to go this low back east out. It's not usual. It usually comes in from the east to west, moves up north, and then bends out again toward the east. This one's going directly east. But if it got caught, it could have made a trajectory back toward Florida. Thank God that's not going to happen. And I'm telling you, a lot of people in the weather business are thinking the same thing, because it could have looped. So looking at that, let's bring it in. So look where it moves, off to the Atlantic, right there. It could have stalled. It could have went more to the north and made a turn back toward the Carolinas. It could have actually came back around. But it's moving east. And it can't go up. You can see it cannot go up. There's a front here, by the way, a cold front, so it can't go that way. The cold front's coming down from Canada and it's spreading. It's not going left. And it's not going up, because look at the steering currents. Which way can it go? There's really only one way it can go, east or south. So, and you could see it's moving east. Now it might start to make a turn to the north and east. And then it goes bye-bye as it exits. That's incredible. Incredible. See, that's that cold front right here that it couldn't penetrate to move back. It was not coming. It wasn't coming up, and it wasn't going to bend back because of that. Thank God for that. And then that's the leftover of it right around here. That's what's left. Fortunately. But if I do let's see, satellite, let's see. This might give you an idea. So it's hard to see it here, but we had a cold front because there's no clouds to show you. We had a cold front come through yesterday. And this could still be the extension of that cold front. So that cold front is like here. It's pushed down. That's why you see the way this looks so clear. The cold front just cleared everything out. So that's why they're saying there could be wind shear and drier air coming in from the flow here. An effect of the front. So there's a lot of elements here involved. But that front is a saving grace. Because this storm could have affected a lot more people. If it rode up the coast, it could have crossed Florida and simply went right up the coast. Carolinas. But thank God the steering currents are what they are. And you could kind of see it. You could kind of see underneath these clouds the front that is here. So it extends down to here. I can't emphasize that enough, how important that is with this storm. But unfortunately, because of that front, the storm goes over the entire peninsula of Florida. It has no other way to go. So it's keeping it below that area. So that's why this storm is going west to east, because the front is pushing it downward. So, but regardless of all that, the next update is at 11 Eastern. And I'm going to get off because I wanted to talk just about the storm quickly and keep it just about the storm. But check a look at this. Look how vulnerable these places are. They've evacuated. Can you imagine being anywhere, and there's Sarasota, anywhere in these areas, and they're populated. They're heavily populated. And they're definitely evacuated. There's no doubt about that in my mind. This has been evacuated. I haven't checked, but pretty good guess. These areas have been evacuated. This is low lying. And this area here is right near the shoreline. And there where the surge is going to be predicted 10 to 15. What you're looking at right now, sadly, could be up to the roof in water. The roof line, the gutter line. Possibly. I'm not saying it's going to happen. That's how much water is potentially going to come into this area. And like I said, it's densely populated and exposed and vulnerable right near the coastline. And even in here, I mean, oh my God. Can you just imagine the water rushing right in here? Because there's nothing to stop it here. It's just going to go right in there. Brian, if you're watching, I can't pick up because I'm streaming. But he's in Florida too. So yeah, anywhere here. Like my friend Mike called me earlier and he told me about his father's home in Englewood. He's a little bit inland, so that might help. But I can't imagine if that storm, depending if it hits where they say a little bit south of Tampa Bay, anywhere to the south of that, where that makes landfall, is going to get some really severe surge. So the Euro is saying that the eye is going to come here. So anywhere point south is going to get the worst of the surge here. Possibly Charlotte Harbor. Now, you think Tampa is exposed? Look at Charlotte Harbor. Well, my picture is there, so let me get rid of it. Look at Charlotte Harbor. They're just as vulnerable as Tampa. Yeah, I'll be streaming tomorrow for sure. I will definitely be streaming. I may even pay for the cameras on the beaches. Not that we're going to see anything at night, but on Thursday morning, the cameras are probably going to get wiped out with the wind and power loss. But I really am really concerned about this area here along the coastline. I'm really concerned. From Tampa, I'll say from Clearwater, because it's still possible this thing could wobble north. It's still very possible. From Clearwater all the way down to Charlotte Harbor. That's what I would say right now. Depending on where this eye makes landfall. It could even be further south by Cape Coral. It depends where the eye comes in. If the eye goes further to the south, then yeah, you got to push it down this way. If the eye is over here, then it's going to be over here. Tampa Bay, worst case scenario. Then it would be like right here. The worst storm surge. And one more time, showing it on the Euro model, because I prefer the Euro. I'm not a fan of the American model. I've been doing this for years and over a decade. And the Euro has been historically much more accurate. So here it is. Oh, whoa. Did that change? No. I was going to say. So look at this storm surge coming in. Look at that. The areas I was just talking about. If the eye were to come in there by Sarasota. If. Big if. Too early to say exactly where it's going to make landfall. The Euro's saying there, the American has it going directly into Tampa Bay. But earlier. Look at that. The American has it going directly. And now remember, this could be a Cat 3, possibly a Cat 4. They're near the eye wall. The wind here is going to be intense near the eye wall. And MacDill Air Force Base is right here. That's MacDill. The Air Force Base is right there. MacDill Air Force Base. Let alone all the people's homes and everything else that's in that area. Over 3 million people live in Tampa. So this is so serious. And Radar Omega, let's go back out. Let's zoom out a little bit. Now, I don't know which model they're going to use to forecast this, if they're using the American, the Euro, combination of both. But I can't believe what this storm is right now. 165 sustained. That means the gusts are 190. Sustained winds at 165. The pressure's 902. That's record-breaking pressure. But as you see, they're predicting a 4 here. Still 150 sustained, 185. So this probably is 200 gusts. But they're predicting a 3 as it makes landfall. Still 125 sustained, 155 gusts. Oh my God. And look where it has the line, the middle line, right over Sarasota. But you cannot discount. You still, look how wide. Now, this is another thing to consider. 24, say 36 hours, 24 to 36 hours. Look how wide the cone of uncertainty still is. From Cape Coral all the way up. Let me answer him. What's up, Brian? You know I'm live. What's going on?
I know you're live, and I'm trying to fucking give you a message.
Okay.
So the water on the West Coast is really warm, and it's going to generate a huge fuel dump for the storm.
I agree.
It's coming in more powerful.
I don't want to.
I'm not trying to scare anybody.
Right. I don't want to exaggerate it, but that water.
I'm not exaggerating it.
No, I know. The water there is 2 to 4 degrees above normal.
I understand it, but the whole Gulf of Mexico has been heated up, and once it hits the West Coast, and it was a Cat 5 no more than 30 minutes ago.
I know.
Okay? So if that cuts across to the East Coast, and I'm on the East Coast in Palm Beach County, so we're going to get like a Cat 4 because it usually goes down, but there's warmer water on the East Coast, and once it hits that water...
Oh, yeah. Now I understand what you're saying.
And it'll reform into another hurricane, and we're talking 4, 5, or 6, and it's going to bank up to the left like they normally do. So anybody from the Carolinas up, you better batten down the hatches and get your shit together.
All right, just so you know, that's not what they're forecasting. That it's going to go up the coast.
How long have you known me, Bill? Do you think I believe their forecast?
I know. I'm just saying. I'm going based on what they're saying, but I understand what you're saying because that's usually the normal course they take. They ride up the coast and then they bend outward to sea. So, a lot by tomorrow afternoon, evening, we'll know a lot more about what this storm is going to do. But I'll tell you this right now: that West Coast area of Florida, I am scared. I'm nervous. I have friends there. You know, we have family. You're there.
Yep. I have a good buddy that lives in Sarasota right now that I invited to my house on the East Coast.
Yep.
Because we're going to get some, we're going to get water. It's going to suck down here.
Yeah.
But he's not coming. He's got some elderly there, and he's going down with the ship. He's a great Bigfoot researcher, movie maker, guitar guy, and I have come to the realization that I may not be able to speak with this man again until I leave this planet.
Oh God, I hope that doesn't happen. But I know what you're saying.
Let me tell you, this is like nothing they've ever seen before.
Yep.
None of this storm has acted any way, shape, or form where it should.
Yeah, it went from a 1 to a 5 in 18 hours, dude. That's insane. That's just insane.
It keeps going to 4, then 5.
Yes.
4. They're even talking about it possibly broaching forbidden territory at Category 6.
Yes. I heard that stuff earlier today. That's why they're thinking of actually officially making a Category 6. Because this is right now the 5th strongest ever on record pressure-wise storm in the Atlantic. So and it's about to break another record now, if it goes down more.
I'm not nervous about it, and and forget people trying to get out because you know the roads.
Oh, I know the roads.
They opened up even the breakdown lanes. There's no gas from all the way up.
I saw
no gas.
I saw there was 1,000 gas stations with no gas.
Yep.
It's probably higher than that. So
this is insane what's taking place right now.
Yeah. Oh my God.
We've got. I know you have family there. And I'm praying for everybody. That's the best you can do at this point. But this is going to devastate the west coast of Florida. My friend,
Mike, my friend Mike?
Yeah.
His dad's house is in Englewood, which is right where the storm surge is supposed to be its peak, right over that net area. So
They just gave an estimate 15 to 20 years.
Oh my. See, you're getting the local stuff, which is important. So that's what they're saying now, 15 to 20?
If it comes in right now the way it is, it's 15.
Oh, yeah. But they're expecting it to weaken. But like you said, they've been wrong on their predictions. They said 5 to 4, 4, 4, 4, then 3. Well, guess what? I see a lot of 5s on that map right now. It didn't drop. It went slightly when it did the replacement cycle, the eye wall replacement, and it went right back to a 5. And
it's really, in this day and age, and we've always talked about, there's some conspiracy type of theory in everything.
Yep.
But this is not acted normal. Matter of fact, this Helene did not act normal. There's no way it should have did what it did. It's just not what it does. And there's actually some of the North Carolina representatives there, so Congress and the Senate, have been briefed by a group. I forgot the name of the group, but they pretty much watch and they talk about weather seeding and geoengineering and whatever. And they gave proof to all of this stuff. And you're going to see a lot of people. You're going to see a lot of news coming out about the DOD and geoengineering. I'm telling you,
let's see if that comes to fruition. But listen, if you're able to, and I'm saying the aftermath, take some video or photos of what happens in your area. Because a lot of people are going to be focused on the West Coast, but this is going to be a storm that crosses the peninsula of Florida, and it's going to affect people on the east side too. Central, east, you know what I mean?
Oh, I know. And my problem is, you know about the canals down here.
Oh God, yeah. I had a big one in my backyard.
I'm about 75 feet from one of those.
Yeah, my house was like 30 feet from one of those, and I was like, oh my God. And they're all interconnected.
Yeah.
So when they flood, they all flood. Oh my God, it's horrible. Then you got to worry about snakes, alligators, and everything else too.
Yeah, and then, it's par for the course.
It is. It's Florida. I said
Yeah.
I don't want to laugh about it. I laugh sarcastically, but that's just
No, it's
part of being in Florida.
Yeah, and as I said to the guys over at Walgreens when they were all talking about the storm, I said, "Well, another day in paradise, right?"
Oh God.
So,
Well, listen. God bless you and your family. Are you coming up to New York anytime or no?
In a little bit, I'm coming back up. I got to take care of some stuff, but I usually come up in the summer.
Well, guess what? We need to take a reunion trip to that location, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Because that's
I'm
like,
down for that.
dude, it's like taboo to talk about it. We know what happened to Al and you when you were in the city. I'm not going to even get into that. But a little intimidation was happening, to say the least. Just to say the least.
It's all good.
It's all good. But listen, love to you and your family. God bless you. Be safe. Hit me up Thursday after all said and done.
You got it.
Or even tomorrow night when I'm streaming again.
You got it. I'll call in and I'll give you a report of what's going on.
Yeah, we're connected on Skype. I could always bring you on Skype too.
Yeah, whatever you need.
All right, listen. Go do your
I'll
thing.
be your guy on the ground.
Exactly. All right, listen. Have a great one and love to the family, bro.
You got it.
Later. Bye. So Brian is down there. He used to live up here. Big researcher, UFOs, Sasquatch, Dogman, all paranormal. And now he's in Florida with his family. He's a good friend, Al Santoriga. We're the ones who went to a certain location and had, I can't even tell you, you cannot make up, without getting too distracted off topic, but we had a night, on a Halloween night in 2015, at a location, which I can't say the name, that we experienced a little bit of everything, including being physically ill the next day from being there, including missing time. This is not even a joke. It was 9:30. We were talking to somebody, and all of a sudden it's 12 o'clock at night. We heard voices like a family coming down the path. This is in the middle of the woods along the Appalachian Trail. We heard like a family, and we put all the lights on so they could see us, and we don't scare them. And then it just disappeared. There was nobody around. Now, there were leaves all over the ground. We would have heard them walking away. There's no explanation. And then the sound of and I did my research. I tried to match it. We heard literally a Sasquatch call, and it moved. Saw something come from the south toward us, hover, did not make a sound, made more like a humming electrical sound. So much happened this night, all in one night. I'm getting the chills. I had my night vision monocular, and Al was sitting in the chair, and we thought it was recording on this device with a screen. And I swear to you, and Al saw it too, in the trees, now the trees had no leaves, we saw a shadow go from right to left, like across the trees. And we're like, what the hell is that? And then there was these little twinkling things in the trees. I'm not gonna say, but I was thinking fairies. I know it sounds crazy, but it really did happen. And he caught an incredible orb, which Jade took a picture of, and it looks like eyes. Right, Jade? Anyway, to get off that, because it's all about this. So again, be prepared. I'm sure people are already taking the proper precautions for this storm. And don't underestimate this storm, as Brian indicated, because everything so far that they forecasted, they minimized it, and it's exceeding what they've been saying since this storm started way down here. Look at this. Look how fast it went up from a 1. Look at the time. Look at the time here. I don't know if it's going to have the time. So it went from here to a 5 here. In that short distance, it blew up. And it went through an eye wall recycle here. But then it immediately went back to a 5. And it's still a 5. And it's projected to stay a 5. Look at this. 165 mile per hour winds. This is what they're guesstimating, that when the update comes out at 2 a.m. Eastern, it's still going to be gusting at 200 miles per hour. Is it going to be a 4? Now, 157 and higher is a 5. 157 higher, 5. 150. Will it be a 4? This is what, tomorrow morning? Tomorrow afternoon. They're predicting it'll be a 4. Will it be? We have to see. Will it be a 3? As predicted, 125, 155? When it comes on shore? We have to see. It could be a 4. Who knows? So people really, really, really need to pay attention to this. And again, it's all about that surge. I cannot emphasize that enough. That sound you hear is my little radar thing that goes off. It's probably coming out of Miami. Yeah, it updates the radar every 30 seconds. Another thing, too, is isolated tornadoes. Brian's on the east coast of Florida. He could be in the bands getting isolated tornadoes. God willing, no. But there's going to be a lot of warnings for tornadoes tomorrow. Well, tomorrow night, really Thursday morning. Thursday. It's supposed to come in Thursday early. But the outer bands come in first. That could happen tomorrow late afternoon, evening. These bands start coming in and creating isolated tornadoes. So people need to be prepared now. This is it. Because this thing is going to come in. It's going to be bad. I hate to sound like that, but it is. I don't see any other possibility here, honestly. I mean, that's where the storm is now, but look at this ahead of it. There's thunderstorms in there. There's rain in there. That's going to go in there before this does. But look at that eye. And you see the thunderstorms around the eye? It's intensifying. When you see thunderstorms around an eye wall like that, that's signs of intensification. Look how well defined that eye is. And that was earlier tonight. Let's go. Look at this. Look at that eye. Oh my God. Look at that. Let's go to right now. That is a strong storm. I mean, look at the loop. Look at the satellite loop. And look at the tight, perfect circle. Scary stuff. And the tide. If it comes in at 4 or 5 a.m., landfall, Sarasota. High tide's at 4:21 a.m. Bad. Bad. So, and I'll do it one more time, as of 8, and there's the storm surge warnings, but as of 8 o'clock Eastern, so like 90 minutes ago, and we already showed it on the radar Omega, the wind sustained was 165, gusting to 190 right now. That's really scary. So please, I hope everybody is prepared. Like I said, there's not much time now, because you're going to start feeling the impacts of this very soon. Very soon. The next 12 hours. You see how these storms are drifting? Well, they're going to get this first coming in. So they're going to get thunderstorms, rain ahead of it. As you can see, that's developing. That's even developing ahead of it. Look how that's blowing up. There's a lot of energy here. Now that is going to intersect with the hurricane. That could cause it to wobble as it takes on that piece right there of energy. They're going to merge. You can actually see the merge getting closer to happening here. Look right here. See it? It's getting closer to each other. Thunderstorms are developing again around the hurricane itself. That's never a good sign, especially on the right quadrant, the right side. But that area is going to be taken over, and it's going to be swallowed by the hurricane's flow. It's going to take on that energy. But when it does that, will it affect the eye? Will the eye wall replacement happen sooner rather than later? It's going to become a larger storm? And the wobble. Will that cause the wobble along with the eye wall replacement if it happens, which they're predicting it is? So still a lot can happen here. And it's going to take that piece. That piece is definitely going to get swallowed up into the entire storm. And look how it's blowing up. Look at the energy associated to that piece above. Look at that blowing up right there. Look at this blowing up. Look at that. It's a lot of juice. It's a lot of energy right there. Just that little piece. And look how it's starting to slowly go into the coast. And I see what they're saying about the dry air, but I'll tell you, to be honest, with that piece above it, it's going to be really difficult. That is an incredible looking storm. That is just unbelievable to look at this. Look at that. Can't imagine what that looks like from the ISS, from space. Anyway, that's it for now. Because like I said, tomorrow, even tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to probably start streaming at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow to see what's going on at that time. And then definitely carrying it into the night. There's a possibility, and I used to do it, and I'm going to look for it right now. I may sign up and pay. Yes, pay, not steal. For footage of cameras along the beach in certain areas. And I know the site that I used to use. Oh, but there is something else that I can get access to that I pay for. And that would be this. Now, I don't know if there's any active right now. Okay, we have to do this first before I get off. That's the site. But I have to pay for it. Let's just see if there's an example. Because I want to see what they're going to charge me. They're going to charge me. Okay, let's see. And I'm definitely going to pay because I don't want to get in trouble. So this one is already not working. This is from Sarasota. But it looks like this one's not working right now. Just as an example. That's not a live cam. This one is. But I will pay for it so I don't have issues. Copyright issues. So right now the cameras aren't working. So we're not going to worry about that right now. I'll worry about that in the morning. But going back to what I was going to originally do is on Radar Omega, which I pay for the gold version, the top version, there are storm chasers that could be in here. There's actually one right there in Tampa. Doubt he's live, so he's not live right now. But there's one already showing up on the map. Obviously, he's not going to be live now. But there's a storm chaser here. So we can show that because I pay for this. So you're probably going to see more of these storm chasers appear tomorrow afternoon, evening, as they position themselves. Plus, they're waiting to see exactly where the eye is going to make landfall, because they'll reposition. Which baseball game? I'm totally caught up on this. But I might check it later because I'm going to end this because I just wanted to come on quickly to talk about the storm. So, like I said, tomorrow I'm going to be doing my homework in the morning because I'm not going to use video unless I pay for it. Because it's not so much about tomorrow night, Thursday morning. It's when it's light and we see, because we're not going to see that. It's going to be dark. When the hurricane comes in, most likely it's going to be still dark when it makes landfall. Plus, a lot of these cameras might fail. And power. A lot of issues. So thoughts and prayers to all those in Florida. And, of course, North Carolina, Georgia, all the places that were affected by Helene. But this is not going to be good for Florida. The best case scenario is this thing weakens tremendously. I don't see that really happening, though. It's a 5. We hope for a 3 right now. Realistically, we hope for a 3. 2, highly unlikely. A 3, most likely. But it could be a 4. The way this thing's been going, above normal the whole time they've been trying to forecast this thing. It's been a 5 numerous times. I'm not saying it's going to be a 5 when it makes landfall, but I have to see evidence that this thing's going to weaken. I'm not seeing that yet. I'm not seeing that. Especially when I look at the satellite imagery. So, prayers. Thoughts and prayers. Anyway, I'm going to get off now because Momzilla's entering the room.
Yeah, I want to get my diabetes supplies.
To...
You say I got.
Yeah, Mom, I'm live still. So, to my friends that have been watching, Brian, maybe Mike, my cousin, family members, everyone down there, call me if you need me. Not that I can do much from my point where I'm at, but I'll keep everybody informed as much as I can as this thing gets closer to making landfall. So again, Thoughts and prayers to everybody down there. Take the safety precautions necessary. And look out for others too while you still can. Make the phone call. Check on your neighbors. Check on the elderly, sick. Check on them before it's too late. Just check on them. If you have people, neighbors like that, give them a call. Knock on their door. See if they're okay. If they're staying, check on them. All right. Everybody.